Hello, I'm Ryle Hutchins, and in this presentation, I will be going over the Wirecard fraud case. Wirecard was founded in 1999 in Munich, Germany by Markus Braun. The company entered the international market in 2007 with the creation of Wirecard Asia Pacific and Singapore. Over the next 12 years, Wirecard also expanded into several other countries including the United States, Australia, South Africa, and China. In 2019, SoftBank became a large investor in the company. Wirecard mainly focused on electronic payment transaction services. However, they also provided risk management services and issued physical cards to make transactions with. The leadership of Wirecard was as follows. The CEO and CTO was Markus Braun, who was arrested in 2020 due to the fraud. The COO was Jan Marsalek, who is a wanted fugitive and is believed to have links to the Russian government. The CFO is Alexander von Knoop, who has held the position since 2018. Finally, the CPO is Suzanne Steidl, who has also held her position since 2018. Wirecard used fraudulent accounting to inflate its profit. Their combined banking, which came from their Wirecard bank subsidiary and other operations, made it to where their financials were difficult to compare to other companies, so investors had to use an adjusted version of the financial statements. The adjusted accounts resulted in inflated earnings and cash flow figures. In 2008, people noticed irregularities from their statements, and then EY did a special audit which claimed there were no issues with the company, and EY would then become Wirecard's main auditor. In 2015, the Financial Times discovered that there was a large gap between the short-term assets and liabilities in Wirecard's payment business. This came from Wirecard only taking a small commission from all of the payments they processed, and the large number of payments that were actually taking place were being adjusted in their accounts to reflect the small amount of money they were earning. Ido Kurnawan, Wirecard's head of accounting for their Asian Pacific operations, had also been accused of creating forged contracts to artificially inflate profits, and Wirecard was moving money around subsidiaries and external businesses using round-tripping, which is selling assets to inflate sales, but then buying them back for the same price later. Wirecard also used third-party acquirers to process transactions in countries where they did not have the necessary licenses. These companies processed half of Wirecard's worldwide revenue, and they were very opaque and poorly audited. Their longtime auditor, EY, failed to verify the existence of money reserves and what were fraudulent bank statements. Also, they were unable to verify the majority of the company's profits from 2016 to 2018. In 2020, a special audit was conducted by KPMG and was found out that 1.9 billion euros was missing. This then led into the company filing for insolvency. Using the fraud triangle model, we can further examine the fraud at a personal level. Why did Wirecard do these fraudulent practices? Well, their motivation was to keep the stock valued as high as possible due to pressure from investors. The rationalization was that committing the fraud would help keep the company afloat at first, but later it was too late to stop what they were doing. The opportunity was the financial statements that are being shown to shareholders and auditors, because of the complexity required to try and accurately evaluate the position of the company. After allegations of fraud were all but confirmed, German police searched the headquarters of Wirecard on June 5, 2020. The next day, CEO and founder Markus Braun resigned from his position, as did a few other corporate officers in the company. Markus was replaced by James Frey as CEO, who was previously a manager in the compliance department of Wirecard, but shortly after taking the mantle, stepped down due to his belief that the alleged fraud was in fact true. Not all of the upper management at Wirecard handled this situation with grace, though. COO Jan Marsalek has been missing since June of 2020 and is believed to be on the run. So why didn't EY pick up on the fraudulent practices that Wirecard was using? Well, they weren't really looking for it, and the paper trail would have been hard to find if only looking at the cooked books that they were presented with. The people presenting them the information they were examining were intentionally hiding the round-tripping and money laundering they were doing. On the other hand, they seem to have been tuning out all of the allegations brought forth by the media, particularly the news outlet Financial Times, by writing them off as short sellers, and market manipulators. Due to how recent this case is, it is not clear yet if EY is going to be held liable for what seems to be their negligence in detecting the fraud. A lot of things could have been done differently. To start, the German Federal Financial Supervisory Authority, aka BaFin, should have investigated Wirecard a very long time ago. People were suspicious of the company as early as 2008, but many times when people came forward to criticize Wirecard, the BaFin thought that they were trying to manipulate the market to short sell the company's stock. If they would have taken the allegation seriously, this fraud could have been discovered over a decade ago. Also, the adjusted accounts that Wirecard presented to investors did not completely follow IFRS, and that should have never been allowed. The financial statements should always have been created following IFRS and been made easy to understand. Furthermore, Wirecard should not have been able to get away with using the poorly audited third-party acquirers. If half of their revenue was coming from these companies that nobody was able to understand, that should have been immediately investigated. Currently, if you look at the official Wirecard website, its only purpose is to give updates on the state of its insolvency process. It is being acquired by various different groups as the several branches of the company are being split up. The company's stock was valued at 3 cents a share before being delisted from the exchange in Frankfurt on November 15, 2021.